Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Monkey Mathematician. Today we'll be looking at a new topic called expansion of brackets. Our learning outcome for this topic is to learn how to expand a bracket, an expression with variables, and to also collect their like terms. And after that, we'll learn how to expand a bracket with a negative coefficient. So expansion. Expansion, simply put, is when an expression has brackets that holds variables or numbers. And so whenever we have an expression that maybe we want to solve for a value or something else, what we must always normally do is I must first expand the brackets so that we can have all values and expressions at a base value, so we can easily subtract or add values. So as it says here, you will need to multiply the numbers in the bracket each by the number outside. And funny enough, it can't just also be numbers, it can also be variables outside. So variables are also a part of the numbers that may be outside. So to start off, we have a small example here. So we have 2 into brackets 5x plus 3. And how we normally say it, as I said, we start with the coefficients, which is 2. So 2 into brackets, then we have the expression that's inside the brackets, which is 5x plus 3. So in this case, we have 2 into bracket 5x plus 3. How we do it is that we take this 2 and we allow it to interact with both the 5x and then we allow it to also interact with the 3. So in this case, it will become 2 times 5x and then the coefficient, or I said coefficient, the operator that's here, which is a plus. We then have the plus, and then we have 2 times 3. So it will then become 2 times 5x plus 2 times 3. 2 times 5x, because 2 times 5, that becomes 10. Then 10 times x, that becomes 10x. So 10x, and then you add 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6, obviously. So the final answer will be equal to 10x plus 6. So how this works is that the coefficient outside directly affects both terms that are inside the bracket. The two terms being 5x and 3. So here are some other examples. You can pause the video to try and solve them. I'll start now. The first question is 5 into bracket 3x plus 6. So we can put an equals to here to normally look at it. I'll change my color even so I can have varying colors, I guess. So 5 into brackets 3x plus 6. Again, 5 will affect both the first and second term. So 5 will go here and 5 will also affect the 6. So it will then be equals to 5 times 3x plus, remember the operator that is here will be the one that will be in between both of them, and then plus 5 times 6. 5 times 3x being 15x, and plus then 5 times 6 being 30. So 15x plus 30 for the first one. So I can even write that here. The second one, 6 into bracket 2x plus 3. As usual, 6 into bracket 2x plus 3. The 6 times 2x, so we can now start doing faster. So 6 times 2x, in your mind, you can just say 6 times 2 is 12, and then you can then just do 12x. So 12x, and then 6 times 3 plus 18. So 12x plus 18. What in this case is that you must learn how to do it quickly. So you have to do multiple questions so as to fully understand. The third one is x into bracket 5x plus 3. So this is an interesting one. Let me change the color. This is an equal color. This is an interesting one because we have the use of a variable which is x. So x into 5x plus 3. And it acts the same as a number where you must multiply the two terms by the coefficient outside the brackets, which is x. So x times 5x. And then you have the plus operator, and then you have x times 3. X times 5x, x times x are similar, so x times x becomes x squared. So 5x squared, and then you have your plus, and then you have your x times 3, and so that becomes 3x. So your final answer there will be equals to 5x squared plus 3x. The fourth one is going to be looking at 2x into bracket 6 minus 3x. Again, not a good color. You can try something else. So we just go back to red. 2x into brackets 6 minus 3x. So 2x into brackets 6 minus 3x. So again, 2x will multiply the 6 and then we'll multiply the minus 3x. So 2x times 6, we'll have that one outside. And then remember, the operator that's in the middle will act for the operator that will be in the middle here as well. So minus will still be here. And then 2x minus into bracket 2x times 3x. So 2x times 6 becomes 12x. 2 times 6 so 12, then 12x. 12x, then minus, and then 2x times 3x. We can keep it together. 2 times 3 is 6. X times x is x squared. 6 times x squared becomes minus 6x squared. And so that's how it is. So the next one is equals to 12x minus 6x squared. And then the last one being the 3y into bracket 2 minus 4x. So 3y into bracket 2 minus 4x is an interesting one because we have two different variables. But again, it acts the exact same. So 3y times 2. So 3y times 2, that will equal to 6y obviously. And then you have your minus here. And then you have 3y times 4x. So 3y times 4x will then have this. And so 3 times 4 is 12. Y times x is yx or xy. What normally they say xy, but we can also say yx. So then that becomes minus 12yx. So that equals to 6y minus 12yx. So we're going to start looking at a specific part of expansion, or rather in algebra, and that's collecting like terms. This is a very, very, very important part of the whole of algebra, because whenever we expand a bracket, what normally happens is that in an equation we have multiple values that have similarities in between them, and these similarities are variables that they're exact same. So as this pointer says, after an expression may have some like terms, so you need to collect them to put them in their simplest term, especially when questions ask you to expand and put in simplest term. So we have an example here, 2 into brackets 2x plus 3 and then minus 3x. So what we'll first do is, in this case, we'll first expand the brackets. So 2 into bracket 2x plus 3. That, and then we have minus 3x here, but we'll first focus on the 2 into bracket 2x plus 3. So 2 times 2x, that becomes 4x. 2 times 3, that becomes 6. And we should not forget the other term, which is minus 3x. So 4x plus 6 minus 3x. So now what we must do is that we must look at like terms. What terms here are like, in the sense that their variables are the exact same? So you notice that 4x and minus 3x have the exact same variables. And so that will lead to them being collected. So 4x minus 3x plus 6. 4x minus 3x, same thing as saying 4 minus 3 with an x by the side. So 4 minus 3 is now 1, and 1 times x becomes x. So x plus 6. So your final answer here, when expanded and put in the simplest term, is equals to x plus 6. It's crazy how you have such a large expression that can be simple, that can be dumbed down here into this. So an example, again, you can pause the video to try it out yourself. So an example here we have is question 1, which is 3 into brackets 3x plus 6. Wow, why is this actually good? Anyways, 3 into brackets 3x plus 6 minus 3. So we can start with the first part, 3 into bracket 3x plus 6 minus 3. Again, we start with the expansion of the brackets. So 3 into bracket 3x plus 6. 3 times 3x becomes 9x. 3 times 6 becomes plus 18. And then we have the minus 3. So 9x is not similar to minus 3, but 18 is similar to minus 3. So 18 minus 3 is 15. So equals to 9x plus 15. The second question is now 2x into bracket 4x minus 3 plus 5. Again, we do the usual of expanding the brackets. And so 2x into bracket 4x minus 3 plus 5. And so this is now going to be 2x times 4x, which is going to be 8x squared. And then 2x times minus 3, which is going to be minus 6x. And then you have your plus 5. And this is a very interesting and interesting expression, which can also be called a quadratic expression. So 8x squared minus 6x plus 5. You'll learn that later. But anyways, after that, we have question 3, which is x into brackets 2x plus 1 plus 9. So x into brackets, well, this is a bad color. So x into brackets 2x plus 1 plus 9. So x times 2x is going to be 2x squared. X times 1 would then be plus x. And then x plus 9 is at the end. Again, if it's not inside the brackets, do not multiply the coefficients by it. I was about to make that mistake right now. Please do not make the mistake I was about to make. If it's inside the bracket, you multiply it by the coefficients. If not, it does not act as a part of the coefficient, so you do not multiply. So your final answer here is going to be 2x squared plus x plus 9. The last one is going to be a tricky one at first, but it's quite simple. And it follows the exact same methods that we used to do just now. So 4 into brackets 2k minus 3 plus 5 into bracket k minus 5. So the usual thing we do is to use our expansion of brackets first. So we'll first look at both sides. So the first side can be seen as 4 into brackets 2k minus 3. So what we will do here is that we'll then say 4 times 2k, which is 8k, and then 4 times minus 3, which becomes minus 12. Now we look at the second side as we're done expanding that side. So 5 times k is then going to be 5k, and then 5 times minus 5 is going to be minus 25. And so what we do here now is that remember the plus that's here, we'll still add it in between. So now it's going to become, hold on, it's going to now become 8k minus 12 plus 5k minus 25. So then we take the like terms. So the like terms here is obviously the values that have the exact same variables. So 8k and 5k have the exact same variables. So we take them and their operator that's beside them. So it's 5k has plus, 8k has plus, so 8k plus 5k. And then minus 12 and minus 25 are together. So minus 12 minus 25. And so it's going to now be 8k plus 5k, which is equals to 13k. And then minus 37. Because minus 12 minus 25 becomes minus 37. So your final answer here, as I said before, is equals to 13k minus 37. So we'll be looking at the second main part, and that is expanding through negative coefficients. So expanding through negative coefficients is the same as expanding through positive. It's just that you must need to remember the operators that are before a number. Because when in this case, for example, it's better for me to show it an example than just explaining. So we have minus 2x here. That is our coefficient. And then we have the brackets 3 minus 4x. So as usual, we must multiply minus 2x by the terms inside the brackets, being 3 and minus 4x. So we can break it down at first. So we can say minus 2x times 3, then minus 2x times 4x. So it's just for you to remember that minus 2x acts on the coefficients here, because remember minus times plus equals to minus, minus times minus equals to plus, and plus times plus equals to plus. Those are very important things when it comes to this stuff, because if you don't remember them, a lot of times you lead to making mistakes and be wondering, oh, how did I make this mistake? So it's just good to remember this. So minus 2x times 3 is then going to be minus 2 times 3, which is minus 6, and then x, so minus 6x. And you have minus here, and then you have your brackets. Minus 2x times 4x. Minus 2 times 4 is minus 8, so minus 8. X times x is x squared, so x squared. And remember, minus times minus equals to plus. So then you equal to minus 6x plus 8x squared. That's why it's always good to remember this. So your final answer will then become minus 6x plus 8x squared. Some examples that we can look at is the first one, which is minus 2 into brackets 3x minus 6. So you can say minus 2 3x minus 6. You can then equal it to minus 2 times 3x and then minus 2 times 6. So minus 2 times 3x becomes minus 6x. Minus 2 times 6 becomes minus 12. And again, minus times minus equals plus. So that equals to minus 6x plus 12. So your final answer is going to be minus 6x plus 12. Second question, minus 7 into brackets 4 minus 2x. Again, it's simple, so I'll just break it down as quickly as possible, because again, you need to learn how to quickly solve these questions. Minus 7 times 4 is minus 28. Minus 7 times minus 2x is the same thing as saying minus 7 times minus 2, which is plus 14, and then the x at the end. So the final answer there is equals to minus 28 plus 14x. The logic here is that you must start with each term and solve for each term with each coefficient. Remember, it's always multiplication for the coefficients. The next one, minus 3x into brackets 2x plus 5. Again, the usual, minus 3x times 2x. That would then be minus 3 times 2, minus 6, and then x squared. And then minus 3x times 5. Minus 3 times 5 is then equals to minus 15, and then your x, so minus 15x. So your final answer there would be equal to minus 6x squared minus 15x. Then the last one, hold on, let me just put like some lines here to differentiate each part. The last one is going to be, again, a little bit challenging, but as you do more of this, you'll get used to it. Minus 2 into bracket 9x plus 4, and then minus 4x into bracket 3x minus 2. So what I'll do here is that I'll break it down and start from one bracket to another. Minus 2 into bracket 9x plus 4. That is the same thing as saying minus 2 times 9x. That is going to be minus 18x, because minus 2 times 9 is equals to minus 18, and then you have your x at the end. And then minus 2 times 4, because 2 times 4 equals to 8, and then your minus at the end, so minus 8. So that's the first part, minus 18x minus 8. Then you have the second part, minus 4x into bracket 3x minus 2. That equals to minus 4x. Minus 4x times 3x. How we do it is minus 4 times 3, which is going to be minus 12. And then we have x times x, which will become x squared. So that will equal to minus 12x squared. And then minus 4x times minus 2. Minus 4 times minus 2. Minus times minus equals plus. So that cancels out and becomes 4 times 2. So 4 times 2 is 8, and then your x at the end becomes plus 8x. So that part now becomes minus 12x squared plus 8x. So again, this part we then take in like terms. So minus 18x minus. So let's start with the one possibly with the highest coefficient, which is x squared. So minus 12x squared is just by itself, so you can put that by the side. And then minus 18x plus 8x. Minus 18x plus 8x is equals to minus 10x, because minus 18 plus 8 is minus 10. So minus 10x and then minus 8 at the end. So your final answer there is going to be minus 12x squared minus 10x minus 8. So that will be your final answer for this. So again, just remember, you must take into account each term that is within the bracket, and you must multiply them by the coefficient that's outside. And you must remember the signs that are on the coefficients that are and that are on the terms that are within the brackets. So I'm going to look at some questions. You can pause the video now if you want to do it yourself. So we'll begin now. Expand into expand x plus into bracket x plus 8. So a small question that's in normal times costs 2 marks. So x into bracket x plus 8 is a good application of our expansion of brackets. What we do, remember, is that we'll look at the term outside, or rather the coefficients outside the brackets, which is x, and multiply them each by the term that's within the brackets. So we have x times x. And then we have plus into brackets 8 times x. So I made a mistake here. Plus into brackets 8 times x. So x times x becomes x squared, and then plus 8 times x. 8 times x becomes 8x. So your final answer here will be x squared plus 8x. Again, simple way to do it. Just do x times x, x squared, x times 8, 8x plus 8x, right? If it was to be minus here, then change it to minus. Remember, your operator counts. So that's for the first question. The second question has us doing 3 into brackets 2d minus 3, and then plus 4d, 4 into bracket d plus 1. So what we look at here again is looking at each bracket and trying to solve each of them first. So we'll expand the first part of the brackets, which is 3 into bracket 2d minus 3. So that will be 3, 2d minus 3. So we'll start by multiplying 2d by 3, which will be 3 times 2d. 3 times 2 is 6. So then we'll have 6d. I can draw that better, but we can have 6d here. And then 3 times minus 3. Minus 3 times 3 is equals to minus 9. So 6d minus 9 is the answer for that first part. Then we have 4d plus 4d rather. 4 into bracket d plus 1. So again, we'll multiply the brackets or the terms inside the brackets by the coefficients each. 4 times d becomes 4d. And then 4 times 1 equals to 4 times 1, which is, of course, 4. So we can then put these together, put these two together rather. And we can say 6d minus 9 plus 4d plus 4. You may think we're done. Oh, but we're not done. What we need to do now is to put it in its simplest terms. And so what you will do is to take the 6d, or rather we should take the terms that are similar. So terms that are similar in this case are the terms that have the same variables, and that usually is going to be 6d and d. So 6d plus 4d, and then we have minus 9 plus 4. So 6d plus 4d is equals to 10d. And minus 9 plus 4, minus 9 being greater than 4, so it will now be minus 5. So then your final answer will be equal to 10d minus 5. Simple for that question, I guess. And then the last part is going to be expand and simplify. Simplify is the same thing as taking it to simplest form. And dressing is beautiful, I lied. Anyways, so taking it to simplest form, we must first expand. So 6 into bracket t minus q. So let's write that down, 6 into bracket t minus q. And then we have the second bracket being minus 2 into bracket t minus 3q. Again, we first start with the first part of the bracket. So 6t minus q, we can expand that to be 6 times t, so 6t, and then 6 times minus q becomes minus 6q. Remember the operator, which is the minus plus, etc. After that, we then have the second part, which is going to be minus 2 into brackets, minus 2 into brackets t minus 3q. And remember the operator. Minus 2 is its own whole coefficient. So you must multiply it by each of the terms inside the bracket. So minus 2 times t is going to be minus 2 times t, obviously. So minus 2t. So 2 times t, and then you add the minus at the end. Then minus 2 times minus 3q. This is going to be minus times minus, which will turn into a plus. And then 2 times 3 becomes 6. So then be plus 6q. So now we have the two variables all together. So we can now say 6t minus 6q minus 2t plus 6q. So what you do here is that you look at the values that have similarities. So you can say 6t and minus 2t have similarities. So you can put them together. 6t minus 2t, that's not a minus. So minus 2t, and then minus 6q plus 6q. So 6t minus 2t becomes 4t. And then minus 6q and 6 and plus 6q. These them having the same variable, which is q, we can just do minus 6 plus 6. But minus 6 plus 6 equals to 0. So 0q. And 0q is the same thing as saying just 0. And then you can just say plus 0. But 4t plus 0 is the same thing as just saying 4t. So your final answer there is going to be equals to 40. Like 40, I guess, but just 4t, as per t being the letter. But with that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. I hope you are able to learn a little bit more about expanding brackets in algebra. If you like any questions, or if you have any questions that you want to ask, you can leave them down in the comment section, or you can send them to my email, which will be dropped in the description below. With that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching. Enjoy your day, and thank you for learning with the Monkey Mathematician.